Hello everybody and welcome on my journey to watch 500 films in 1 year. The last 7 films I watched were all of the movies in the original A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. A Nightmare on Elm Street is about a teenage girl who is having nightmares about a frightening, badly scarred figure who wears a glove with razor-sharp finger knives fashioned into it. She soon discovers that her friends are having similar dreams, and when the kids begin to die, she realises that she must uncover the identity of the dream killer and his connection with the children of Elm Street in order to stop his reign of terror. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge, is about a teenage boy who is haunted in his dreams by Freddy Krueger, who plans to possess him in order to continue his murder spree in the real world. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, focuses on some of the survivors of the undead serial killer, as they learn to take control of their dreams in order to fight back. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, sees Freddy Krueger returning once again to terrorise the dreams of the remaining Dream Warriors, as well as those of a young woman who may know the way to defeat him for good. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, sees Freddy Krueger hatching an ingenious plan which he hopes will ensure he is reborn into the real world. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare focuses on Freddy Krueger returning once again to haunt both the dreams of Springwood's last surviving teenager and a woman with a deep connection to him. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is about a demonic force which has chosen Freddy Krueger as its portal to the real world. Can the actor Heather Langenkamp play the part of Nancy for one last time and trap the evil trying to enter our world? It's been ages since I last saw any of the original Nightmare on Elm Street films, so I dusted off my special edition box set that I got from the US and bulk watched these amazing horror movies for what is probably the 4th time. Note that I didn't include the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, as I frankly don't want to see it again and feel it should never have been made in the first place. Amazingly, Wes Craven got the idea for the first movie from reading an LA Times article about a family that had survived the killing fields in Cambodia. They made it to the United States, but a young boy in the family still found himself haunted by terrible nightmares, and one awful night his terror was so strong that he died in his sleep mid-dream. I really feel as if the essence of nightmares and the weird world you find yourself in as you dream were captured brilliantly in this movie, and the atmosphere was unsettling and eerie. The special effects were outstanding, the narrative was strong, and even though the actors weren't seasoned pros, many of them, including Johnny Depp, had never acted in a feature film before. They provided reasonable performances. The first movie would have always been a hard act to follow, but I really liked A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge. There was great story development and an interesting continuation of the plot established in the previous film. Something I didn't spot at all, which I read about afterwards, was the fact that the screenwriter, David Chaskin, conceived of the idea of Freddy needing to enter Jesse's body to interact with the real world as a metaphor for repressed homosexuality. After the movie was released, Mark Patton, who played the lead, started to receive hate mail from some people who picked up on this theme, and this resulted in him leaving acting shortly afterwards. He was not openly gay then, but is now, and the negative attention quite rightly upset him. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, delved more into Freddy's history and added an extra dimension of the characters having unusual dream abilities, a theme which made for interesting viewing. The special effects were again incredible, and I feel they stand up against anything created today, though I have to admit I'm a little biased, as I prefer the look and feel of effects back then. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, sought to explore the possible reasons for why we dream, and despite the fact that the incredibly talented Screaming Mad George worked on the project, I found it to be weaker than its predecessors. I'm not sure if that was because Patricia Arquette did not reprise the role of Kristen, or because it had lower levels of gore, but it didn't seem as impressive to me. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, was quite far-fetched in some ways, but I was surprised to find out that it is widely believed that babies do indeed dream when they are in the womb, apparently from as early as week 23. More of Freddy's history was shared. His torment of the lead characters was yet more innovative, and I have to admit I found much of these scenes quite disturbing. Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare has a current rating of 4.9 on IMDb, and I think this is incredibly harsh. Apparently, Peter Jackson, seen here on the left, was originally hired to co-write the screenplay for this film, but he was replaced by Michael DeLuca, who wrote the amazing In the Mouth of Madness, and I found the plot to be just as novel and frightening as the previous movies. There was the added bonus also of having the choice of watching the finale with 3D specs, but I opted to go for the 2D experience this time around. New Nightmare was probably the most groundbreaking film in the franchise, as it features various people involved in the motion picture industry playing themselves, and brilliantly shifts between fantasy and reality. I did miss the incomparable special effects used in the other movies, and felt the absence of the surreal tone of the other chapters in the series, but it can't be denied that the film was innovative and interesting to watch, even if it was a little too lengthy. I think it's fair to say that each movie in this franchise is distinctive, and even though I like some more than others, I absolutely adore the series, so I give every movie a huge thumbs up. Well, that's the end of my 500 film challenge. I've watched 500 films in 1 year, and even though the record for most films watched in a year is currently 1,132, I'm very proud of my achievement. It's been absolutely brilliant to discover so many new actors, directors and writers, and I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported me for the past year, especially my good friends Vicky and Emily, who posted many comments on my page, and my partner Si, who tirelessly edited my reviews and produced something I'm really happy with, considering the fact that iPhones were used for recording my thoughts and iMovie was used to piece everything together. I committed to watching Brokeback Mountain and Flemish Heaven, and will definitely still do that, and I promise I will continue to watch fresh, original and entertaining movies, even if I'm not reviewing them. Thanks again to my subscribers and everyone who commented on my page. Have a happy Christmas and an even better New Year.